I know what you're thinking. There's something different. There's something different about me. And yes, thanks for asking. This is a new shirt. And this is job number 29, handyman. What can you say about being a handyman? Did I become interested in being a handyman? No. This is something that you just do out of necessity and because people ask you to. My first touch, as it were, with being a handyman was in the scouting program. My history of scouting was very hot and cold. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm getting this stuff done. And then other times it was like, whatever. And so I was wanting to get the home repair merit badge. And so I'm going through the book and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm asking my dad, like, hey, Dad, how do you clean out a trap underneath the sink? And he's showing me. So we go through this whole thing and I call up my scoutmaster. I go, hey, I got the merit badge, all the assignments. Who's my counselor so I can get it marked off? And he goes, is your dad around? So he puts my dad on the phone and asks my dad to be the merit badge counselor who had just helped me with all the handyman repair stuff. And so got the merit badge. So with that kind of experience, with that kind of background, I'm ready to go out into the world and start being a handyman. And one of my jobs, I think one of my early memories, I think I talked about it earlier, was crawling underneath this house with these jacks and jacking it up to make the floor level. And I was working for an actual handyman. That's what he did. He was just fix stuff up and renovate stuff, and a true handyman. My main memory of being a handyman was my friend Russ had this house and his landlady hired me to install a screen door. How difficult could that be? It's a screen door. But she wanted a nice redwood screen door. She said, brings it home. And it wasn't like just one of these thin ones. It was like a full-on door. She gives it to me, and it's just a blank. And that means that there's no holes for any of the hinges. There's no mortises for the hinges. There's no holes for the door thing. There's nothing. It's not cut to size. And so I get into this thing, and I'm like, I've never hung a door before, much less had to route out the stuff. And so I'm giving it my best, and I get the thing. It takes me a long time because I have to drill holes and I have to figure out where the hinge mortises are going to go, and then cut it to size and fitting and unfitting, and guys that do this all the time, they just do it in their sleep. But it was difficult for me. But I charged her. I was like, hey, well, it took me this long, and so this is what I charged her. She was not happy. She was a very nervous woman, very nervous, very thin, like a former dancer who'd inherited some property or, over the years. You can picture the type, right? Los Angeles, former dancer, now has some rental properties that she lives off of. Single, nervous, and not too happy with her handyman. The screen door looked great, and it was nice red wood. I think it lasted for a long time. Who knows, maybe it's still there. And I felt vindicated when years later I'm doing some renovations, and I had the 65-year-old construction guy, Daryl, he was a carpenter. I come home, he's like, yeah, we need to get this door. So I come home with a blank door, just like I did with the screen door. And he's like, what's that? I'm like, well, it's the door. He goes, no. He goes, go back and get a pre-hung door. It's going to cost you way too much money for me to actually do the mortises and drill the holes and cut it to size. Go get a pre-hung door and we'll get it squared away. I'm like, so you get these things pre-hung. I hung the screen door from scratch. As an apartment building manager, I would go in and fix like plumbing things. Like I got really good at fixing sinks, like leaky sinks, putting in washers. And you got really good at, like, there's a special tool, and you just got really good at it because you do it all the time. And this is one of those things where you do something like this. Being a handyman and kind of like working on computer programs is kind of the same, because once you do it, it takes you a while to learn it, and you get it, and it's easy, but then you completely forget about it if you don't do it for like 6 months, just like any sort of computer program. And so you have to figure out this all again. And now with YouTube, that's what's great. So we got computers and YouTube. Nice segue. You watch something on YouTube and you can go change the water pump in your dishwasher, or you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, with these helpful people on YouTube showing you how it's done. Now, being a handyman is the equivalent of, for your wife, it's like the equivalent of having a good cook, because your wife, she can brag about, oh, my husband's so handy, or she can say, oh, my husband, he's not handy at all. He can't even change this or that. He can't even wash a dish. And it's the correlation is, husbands will talk about their wives like, oh, she's a great cook, she's fantastic, or she can't boil an egg. And so it's a fun thing if you're married to brag or not brag, to brag or drag. You can either brag about it or you can drag the person down. But I'm pretty handy around the house. When I'm doing something, I'm always thinking, you know what? I don't think I'm like with the screen door. It's like, I'm probably doing this wrong. And so that's not the way to go into a project. It's thinking, man, I'm probably doing this wrong the whole time you're doing it. And then you find out, no, you're probably doing it right. And that's usually the case. But most of the times I think I'm doing everything wrong with handyman stuff. If it gets fixed, it gets fixed. Short one to just kind of tease you back into watching 52 at 52. Long break, pretty long break. How long? This long. And you're wondering what these bad boys are for? They're going off today, I think. I was in a play. I was in Beauty and the Beast, and I played crazy old Maurice. And to commit to my role, I grew these bad boys. So thanks for watching. Tell your friends about watching it. I mean, who wouldn't be riveted by that story about being a handyman? Just fascinating. Hopefully I'll be able to cut it down so that it's not too boring. I still need a freaking tagline. I can come up with taglines for other people in a heartbeat, but I'm like, I can't think of a tagline. Partly because, I don't know. What is this project? I don't know.